Just a quick overview of the budget template I've created. Over here you can click on your help and instructions section and it will explain how to use this template. I've added quick links so you can quickly jump to all the sections that you would like to see. If you want to freshen up on how to do your categories, you can just quickly click on there and it will jump to how to do your categories. Back to the index section. Over here you can access your yearly dashboard quite easily, and this is all the totals that you will be entering on your budgets template, and you can have a quick overlook here comparing the months and in seeing the total you've spent for the year or total you've received for the year, and even your average you can see here as well. You can jump to the index section over here, again back. Over here you can set your categories, and this is all custom, so you can go and type in here your custom categories that is applicable to you. Over here you can have a look at your breakdown of the following accounts. It's your other type of accounts and transfers, which is all explained in the help and instruction section, your loan trackers, and in your saving trackers. Here's a link to a video on how to use and set up this template completely. Other links I leave open where you can add your Google Drive link. That is a folder that you can keep in your Google Drive with all your bank statements and all your necessary documents you want to keep. And that's just a quick, easy access to that. Over here, you can quickly jump to all the different months that you want to enter into, or you want to have an overlook. Let's say we're working in October at the moment. We can quickly click on October and then jump to October. Let's say you've jumped to the wrong sheet. There's a quick jump back to the index sheet and we want to go to December at the moment. A quick view into how the months look. This will be your total section. Over here it will display all the transactions that you will enter throughout the month, and your budget section that you will enter in the beginning of the month. Here is a left to budget and left to spend. This you can use if you're using the zero budget system. If you're not using the zero budget system, you can just ignore this section or use it as a tool in your budgeting to see how much you still have to budget and to see how much you still actually have left to spend. Now, just for example, I did enter just random amounts in here. It's not by any means realistic amounts. I'm just quickly showing some examples of how to enter this. Here's a little graph that will show your expenses, a little pie graph. So it will break down between all the expenses that you've spent in the month. This is your actual expenses, not the budget section. So your groceries, your cell phone, for example, clothing, all depending on what you entered in the transactions. Budget versus actual will show you how much you still have left to spend, for example, expenses versus what you've budgeted for. You can even just use it at the end of the month to see how close your actual expenses were to your budget. Over here is a little breakdown of the following accounts. So it's a quick jump to your savings tracker, your loan, and then other accounts. Over here is a quick jump to help instructions, jump to your transaction log, which I will get to in a second, your yearly dashboard, and the index section. So jumping to the transaction log, it's just to decide this is necessary or this is a nice to have. If you have a small screen, then this will jump towards the transaction log and you don't have to worry about the little bar here at the bottom. So it's only to the side of your dashboard, and you will be entering the transactions over here in this column. It's all explained in the help and instruction section, which you can go through, or you can just go through it with the video that I'm creating on how to use this sheet. This is a little drop down that has all the categories that you've customized to your own categories, so you will know exactly what to type in here or what you're searching for. So it might look like a lot of categories at the moment, but you will be so familiar with this because you've entered your own categories in here, and that way you will know exactly what you're looking for. For example, I know that I'm looking for groceries in this, so I can just start typing groceries, and there you go. You don't have to go and scroll through everything all the time. Let's say, for example, it's based on pets, this expense, and you can just click on pets. So once you've entered all the transactions that you've actually spent, this is the money that you've actually spent and received in your accounts. You will go over to your dashboard, and all that will pull through over here, so you don't have to worry about adding up the totals or any of that. It will automatically pull through here. When you, in the beginning of the month, enter your budget section, you will enter it into the yellow section over here, and it will show you the difference to how much. Let's say, for example, I want to see how much I still have to spend on groceries that's left in my budget. The amount will show over here, and then I know, okay, I still have that amount left that I've budgeted for that I can spend on groceries, for example. It's exactly the same with the income, the saving and investments, your loans. You can budget for all of this. So that's where this comes in handy for a zero budget template. You have a section for every cent of your money to go to. Over here, I have a little income breakdown. So if you get income from different sources, it's always nice to see how much the actual amount, or how much the actual section was that you got from it. For example, we get a little bit from rent income, and then there's business income, and there might be interest income in some people's cases, and then you can see where all your income are actually coming from, or where the bulk of your income are coming from, and you can spend more of your energy on that section. Over here, I have like a little look at the categories and more detail section. So if you're like me and you want to see what you did over here in transactions, but you don't want to go through every single section or every single line, and you don't want to search for stuff, you just want to see, okay, this is all the groceries amounts, and that is the amounts that's on there. This is all the groceries I've entered over here, and it will pop up here. Let's say I want to see cell phone, not clothing, cell phone, for example. It will show me all the cell phone that I've entered on this section. So this is just like a quick little drop down to show you all the transactions that you've entered if you want to look into more detail into some of the specific categories. All of this will pull through to your yearly dashboard, and on the yearly dashboard you can easily compare between the different months. Having a quick glance at your loan tracker, your savings tracker, and other accounts and transfers that you can use in this budget template. So over here you can go to your loan tracker. So how the loan tracker is working, and this is all explained in the help and instruction section as well, is automatically pulls through from all the months that you've already entered in here. Except for the yellow blocks, you will only be entering stuff into the yellow blocks. So your starting balance, for example, if you're taking on a balance before you've actually started using this template, we have a little solar loan. So let's say, for example, that's our starting balance on that. And the months left to pay on the solar loan, we still have 18 months left to pay, for example. What every month you will be paying a little bit towards this loan, and that will come and deduct it from this current balance. So your starting balance needs to be correct in order for your current balance to be correct. Over here's a little section for interest added. So all loans have interest on them. If you have a loan that doesn't have interest on it, you're very, very lucky. So let's say, for example, in January, the interest on this loan was 10. It would automatically accumulate by the current balance. Over here is like a little total that will calculate all the interest that I've actually spent on this section or this loan. So you can enter all of this into your category section and it will automatically pull through to here. You will only be entering stuff into your yellow sections. You do not type in any of the other sections. So over here you have a little section that shows you how you are progressing in this loan and how far you've actually paid off this loan. Jumping to your savings tracker, you can go back to your index section, jumping to your savings. Over here you can see that your savings will automatically pull through from your categories that you've entered. Your goal amount is obviously what you want to save for this account. Budget monthly is, let's say I want to do 100 towards this saving goal per month, and I want to do this in, if I look at the math here, I want to do this in 10 months. This is just like a little section to keep you accountable. Look here, this is part of my budget. You will be entering this on your budget monthly as well. So let's say, for example, your March budget is looking different to your April budget. You will enter the different budgeted amounts for this saving one. This is just the overall goal that you can enter in here. The current balance will show what it is currently sitting at. Starting amount is if you're taking on a balance that you've had before you started using this template, and this will automatically pull from the transactions you enter as you use the template throughout the year. This is the other accounts and transfers. I go into much more detail on what this is and why you should be using it in the help and instructions section. And as you use the template, you will kind of see what this is for and you will kind of get the feeling about it. So don't worry too much if you don't get this right from get-go. You can always come back and fix it later on. So if you have starting amounts for these sections, you can type it in here. The rest will pull through from this accounts. Most of the time, these accounts should be zero as they are transfer accounts, which you will see as you start using the template. It will make all sense, I promise. I'm going to run you through how to do your monthly budget sheet and then how to do your transactions throughout the month. Okay, so firstly you'll go to the month in question. Let's say we're going to do February, and I will just do some example numbers for this. So don't worry too much about the actual amounts that I have on here. It's just to show you how the whole system works. So firstly you will go in the beginning of the month or even before the month, and you will do your budget. You will decide, okay, so this is kind of how much I'm going to get in. So I kind of always start with, okay, so I know I'm going to get about this much rent income in, and let's say the business income, I'm going to go with, let's say I'm going to get that much in, because it's a business, it can fluctuate. So, and then I'll look at the amount I want to save. Okay, so I know I not always pay the kids that amount into their savings account. And then my car loan is, for example, that amount, and it's a car loan is something you're going to be paying the same amount every single month. So you kind of know what your budget's going to look like. You're just putting it all on paper, and then you can decide how your variances amount, the amounts that vary, is going to look. Okay, so now I can see that I have 30,000 in income. I have this much in savings, this much in loans. I still have left to budget about this month. So if I'm going to go on a zero budget method, which you get an allocated space for every single cent you have, then I have to budget, even if it's to savings or spending or whatever the case might be, I have to budget that amount. You don't have to do it that way. It just shows you that's the amount that you have left to budget. Okay, so then I'll just go through my little expenses, and these categories are completely personal, and you set it up to what you need, and you can customize them completely. Okay, so this one is medical aid, which is normally that amount. Internet is a set amount as well. In our case, groceries, let's go with 3,000. Like I said, it's not realistic figures at all. I'm just entering some figures for you to see how the sheet works. Let's say we're going to spend 450 on pets. Travel, let's say that's it. We use travel, and it's basically fuel, so you can use fuel in your case. Cell phone, let's say 350. That's all normally a set amount, depending on if you have a contract, if you go prepaid. 800 for insurance. Let's go see subscriptions is 400. um, the next one is electrical, let's say 700. Then let's say life insurance is normally that amount as well. um, Personal treatments, let's go with that. And then the rent expense, for example, is 10,000. And like I said, these categories are completely customizable to your own needs. Okay, so now it will say I only have that amount left to budget, and then I can actually go in here to savings. So if all goes according to the budget, I will be able to allocate 5,200 to savings. So I'll just plop it in here for now. If the case comes that at the end of the month that is actually my savings, then I will decide in which savings account I will place it at that moment. But for now, we're just going to plop it in there so it's budgeted for. So you will see left to budget is 0. Okay, now I've created some transactions just to show you how the transaction sheet works. So normally you'll get this from your bank. You can either type it directly from your bank, you can type it into the transaction log, you can type it in here, the date, the transaction detail, and then the amount, or you can just copy and paste like I'm going to do now. Like I'll normally download a CSV file from my bank, and then you can copy and paste the CSV file. Just make sure that you only have the date, the transactions, and the amount right next to each other, and you can paste it in here. Now, some banks will put your income as a minus, and some will put your expenses as a minus. Just remove the little minuses. I can show you a hack to fix into the functions in a later video if that's the case, if you want to keep the minuses, for example, and you just want the function to change so you don't have to remove all the minuses yourself. Okay, so now you will just go and allocate your transactions. So you can just manually type them in and then just allocate them accordingly, but I'm lazy, so I'll just copy the CSV file over to here. And okay, so in this case, then I just go and I allocate. So here we have medical aid, which is medical aid over here, rent income, and immediately you can see it automatically starts pulling through to the sheet. Rent income, let's see, rent income, insurance, let's see what we have under insurance, savings, kids, savings account, and you will know what these names are because you would have personalized it for yourself. Savings, so let's say that one, life insurance. We have 2 life insurances, so we just keep track of each of them. This is also a great place to just keep track that your debit orders did go off actually in the month. Groceries is groceries, subscriptions, clothing, pets, haircut is we treat it as personal treatments, groceries, fuel would be travel in our case. You can just name it your category fuel. Like I said, it's all depending on you. Salary is business income in our case, and in utilities it would be electrical. Car payment is car loan. Cell phone would be cell phone. Internet is, I can actually just see it over here. Rent, let me just type in rent. So you don't have to type, you can just scroll through it. It's just quicker to type in my opinion. So this is the income, so I'm putting, oh no, sorry, this is the expense. So this would be rent expense. Netflix would also be a subscription. Now, when you're done allocating all your expenses and income and transactions, you will see your dashboard has completely changed. So over here I can see I actually received a little bit more income than what I budgeted for. I, in actual fact, spend more than what I budgeted for as well. So those two go hand in hand in my little scenario here. And then I budgeted to do this amount of savings and I didn't do that amount of savings. That one is purely because of this one that I put in here and I didn't do, so you can quickly see where the difference comes in. Okay, and then loans is on track. Loans is exactly how it's supposed to be. And here it shows left to spend still. So that is money that you actually received in, and I didn't. So at the end of the month, if you do the zero budget system, you would go and you would take that amount and you would put it into your savings account. That is the goal. You want to do that as a goal. So you will not be entering it manually in here because you're going to be messing up the formulas. You will actually do it through your bank, and then the transaction will show up here when you copy it in or when you type it in, and then you can allocate it accordingly. Let's say I saw at the end of the month, okay, so I have this 6,100 left to spend. I'm now I'm past this. I'm in March, so I want to remove this amount of money out of my bank. So I go to my bank app and I transfer this over to my savings account or whichever savings account you would choose. So this was the end of the month. This happened. This is just an example of how you can enter a manual transaction without copying it in. And I transferred it over to a savings account, and I transferred over, let's say I left 100 in the account and I transferred over 6,000. Okay, I wish we all could save like that. So let's say I did that into my 30-day savings account. Then immediately my savings will show that I actually saved more than what I budgeted to save. However, because you budgeted, you just actually plopped it down there in the beginning, it will not it will show us a difference, but in the end it makes up for it. The little total here in the end makes up for it, and it will show left to spend 100. We'll leave the 100 in our current account. It's a little extra to use for the next month. So that is the zero budget way to do it. You can just ignore that part completely and just use it to keep track of your transactions and then to see if you actually went according to your budget that you did plan out in the beginning of the month. So you want to go as close as possible to your budget. It just puts you in control of your money a bit more. I know not everybody's life situation is like that, but I think if we aspire towards it, it's one step closer to reality. So you can See, okay, here I spend actually a lot more on clothing. I didn't budget at all for clothing. Medical aid is exact amount. Internet is exact amount. Groceries, I actually spent less than what I budgeted for. Pets, I spent more than what I budgeted for. And let's see here, travel, I spent more than what I budgeted for. Cell phones exact, subscriptions exact, electrical is more than what I budgeted for, and personal treatments is more than what I budgeted for, and then rent is exact. Car loan should also be exact. So you kind of can see where the differences came in to your budget versus actual. And over here I can see, okay, my rent income was a small amount of my income for this month, and my business income was the bulk of it. I hope this explains how you can use the monthly sheet to keep track of your stuff. So if you go to your yearly dashboard now, you will see I did January as well, so you will see February is in here as well. So on an average, it will show I make that much in average income. That is just dividing it by 12. So it's this entire year. So it will show your year's average. And over here is the total for that one. Business income, expenses. It will show you your totals, and you can quickly see if a debit order didn't go off, perhaps, like let's say for example you have multiple life insurances for you and your spouse going off, and this is a quick way to see, oh wait, I skipped this month, for some reason it didn't go off. You wouldn't want your life insurance to expire just because of 1 month, so you can quickly rectify that.